I have 6:30, so I'd like to reconvene this meeting for the San Lorenzo Valley Water District for Board of Directors for March 20th, 2025. Jen, would you retake the roll, please?
President Smalley?
Here.
Vice President Lane?
Here.
Director Hill?
Here.
Director Foltz?
Here.
Director Leggett?
Here.
Okay. Everyone's in attendance.
Okay. The board took no actions on the two items that were in the closed session, so we have nothing to report. Changes to the agenda for this evening.
Yes,
John?
Yes, board, we do have a request to pull item 10A. It would be the board policy manual. That needs to go back to the admin committee before coming back to this body.
Okay. 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 Oral communications. Does anybody from the public want to speak on any items that are not on the agenda this evening? Which would include the board policy.
We're away from Boulder Creek. I wanted to talk about minutes in general, not the minutes that are on the agenda, but just minutes in general, and also the org chart. So the last time I came to one of these meetings was the week of the election. It was about 4.5 months ago, and it was Mr. Kunkel's first meeting, as I recall, where he was present. So I haven't been paying that much attention for a few months, but recently I started looking at minutes of meetings, like February, for example, the two meetings in February. When I read those minutes, I was not able to tell what happened before the meeting. From beginning to end, the minutes really don't say what happened. They're really only good as an attendance report, I think. The minutes typically say motion was made and seconded, the motion passed, and that's all. So there's nothing there about what action was taken. You can tell that some action was taken. You can tell that the item wasn't skipped, but there's no way to tell at all what happened. So I kind of feel like when I read those February minutes, it's like eating cotton candy. It's got empty calories, but there's no meat or vegetables in there that would help me understand what actually took place. A lot of what is there is superfluous. It says over and over again, a motion was made and seconded, a motion was made and seconded. Well, I don't think, I think that goes without saying, because I don't think you ever vote on anything unless a motion was made and seconded. That's just obvious. But those words are there, but the words that might tell you what actually action was taken simply aren't there. So I know the district secretary knows how to put the complete motions in the minutes, because I observed for most of last year that was what was happening. And so I began wondering if it was because of when it happens since Mr. Kunkel had come in. But actually I was able to go back to October before he was here, and I saw some that were the same way back then. So I don't think that Mr. Kunkel or the district secretary are responsible for this, and it makes me suspect that the district council has given direction to the district secretary to omit the actions taken in minutes. I think that's a negative trend. I don't think that the district council should be directing staff at all. The staff should be following the board policy manual. And the board policy manual says motions may be made in abbreviated form, but will be placed in complete form in minutes. That implies to me that the board policy manual says motions should be put in complete form in all cases. That's what Robert's Rule of Order says. Every word should be put in the minutes. And I think, I suspect that the Brown Act also requires this, because the same paragraph that says that the votes need to be recorded says the actions taken need to be recorded. So I don't understand what's been going on. I don't understand why the district council is allowing this to happen.
Okay, Bruce.
I'll consider that. Anybody online wish to? I see no hands up for public commenters there. So we will proceed then. Unfinished business, we have none. New business. Since item 10A has been pulled, item 10B. But I do see, I want to comment under oral communications. One of our staff, our assistant engineer, Joel, recently obtained his professional engineering license. And the board does want to recognize that. Great job, Joel. Thank you for that. Time and the effort to do that. It's not a minimal task to do that. Requires at least 4 years of experience here working under a licensed engineer and 14 hours of testing to be able to get that. So thank you, Joel, for that. So congratulations. So thanks. Moving on then to the all-important purchase of a dump truck.
Thank you, President Smalley. Yes, it is in our budget for this year. We have budgeted $100,000 for the purchase of a dump truck. And unbeknownst to me, when I first got here, as I was interviewing our operations employees, one of the things I asked them is what can we do? What can I do to make your job easier? And overwhelmingly, the number one thing was to get another dump truck. And the problem that we have is that we only have one dump truck. So if that is being used in one area of our district and another crew needs it in another area, sometimes it's not available. And so a lot of times we're having to stage work a little bit differently. So come to find out in my discussions with Heather, come to find out we have $100,000 that was put in the budget for this year to purchase a dump truck. So you have before you 3 different bids for 3 different trucks. And the one that is being asked, that Andy in operations has suggested that we purchase is a 2019 Ford 750 for purchase price. It's used. Purchase price is $62,634. That includes tax and delivery. However, just so happens that, unbeknownst to me, this was actually in Visalia where I live. So we may be able to, on one of my trips to Visalia, I could take one of the guys and they can go pick it up. We might be able to actually save $1,500. So, because this lot is like 3 or 4 miles from my house. But anyway, again, the other quotes that you have, one was for a new truck. The other one was for a cheaper model truck, but it was 2 years older, 2 years older, and it had close to 90,000 miles. And speaking with Andy, he said that the difference in mileage of the truck that we are asking you to purchase tonight, it equates to about 10 years of driving for the district. So we really feel that this is probably the best item to go with. So not knowing for sure, we haven't talked to United. And by the way, we have used and purchased items from United Rental in the past, and we've been very successful with them. So we're fairly comfortable purchasing with them. And so not knowing for sure what we're going to do with the delivery charge, I would ask that the board approve the purchase of a dump truck for the amount of $62,634, but we'll try to get that $1,500 knocked off.
Okay. Questions? Bob?
No.
Jeff?
Yes. The only thing that really concerns me here is that the EPA has been, I think it's the EPA, has been telling people who own fleets of trucks that they have got some deadline to go to low emissions engines and things like that. And this being a used truck, are we buying something that in 24 months we might have to swap out the engine at some high cost?
No, fortunately, this is a gas model. It's not the diesel model. So
Okay,
most of the EPA restrictions are on the diesel component. So this is a gas engine.
yeah, because I know, like, for example, Los Animas Concrete, who we buy cement from, they basically had to replace their whole fleet of cement
Yeah.
delivery trucks because of that. I just wanted to make sure we weren't stepping into that problem.
No, we avoided that one. So yeah.
Yeah. It says it in, actually, there's a paragraph in there.
Okay,
Talk,
that
yeah,
addresses that.
yeah, and it reduces emissions of air pollution and everything.
Yeah, I just didn't know all
Anything
the
else?
details, wanted to make sure.
Anything else?
Nothing else.
Selena?
No, thank you for getting these bids, and it sounds like they'll be able to put this to good use.
Scott got the bid, so I didn't do
Oh.
it. He's the one who does it.
Thank you, Scott.
Brian?
No questions, thank you.
On a side note, this is the same model truck that we rented for the Brookside mainline extension project we had for like 3 or 4 months. I don't know if it's the exact same truck, but it's the exact style and make and model.
And the weight of it does not require special license. So anybody who's got a regular California driver's license can drive it.
Okay. And I applaud the effort can we just go pick it up ourselves? And whether you are the Lyft driver for an employee, or if there's some other way that we need to arrange to have an employee go down there to drive the truck up.
Yeah, I think
To save $1,000, to save $1,200. You'll drive.
No, I was gonna say that
You'll go?
driving that vehicle empty for 4 hours or 5 hours is gonna be brutal.
It's gonna run.
And it's gonna take, the employee is gonna be between 8 and 12 hours on the road. So you're only saving half of that money. I know that the employee's already accounted for, but
Right.
I wouldn't want to send one guy down to get it. I'd want to send 2 guys down because it is 400 something miles by yourself out on the 5. So it is a bit of a trade-off. That's all.
Okay.
I just want to go like.
Okay. I hadn't thought about that. Okay. Well, I'll leave that up to John
Okay.
then as to whether
Yeah,
we.
down 99 and okay, got to cut over to 99 for the Visalia. Yeah. So it's a truck. I checked it out. It's like 250 miles.
I looked at that too.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
I get used to it. I can tell you where to stop. But anyway.
I know.
I was trying to
Any-
get John to drive it back.
Any,
comment?
any comments from the public on this item? Seeing none. I move that the board approve the purchase of a used dump truck from United Rentals in the amount of up to $62,634 and authorize the interim general manager to execute any documents required for this purchase.
Second,
Okay,
President Smolley,
yes.
Vice President Lang,
yes.
Director Hill,
Yes.
Director Foltz.
Yes.
Director Largay,
Yes.
passes unanimously.
Okay. Next item is the RGS contract amendment.
Yes, as you know, Heather is on a contract basis with us, and her contract is coming, the current amended contract is coming to an end. And so, and obviously it's budget time and we're trying to get the budget done. So she is agreeable to continue in her capacity with us. And the amount to increase that to the end of the fiscal year, June 30th, would be an amount not to exceed $25,000. There is ample funds in her in the contract amount that we have set aside. There's $66,013 remaining in that account. So by drawing this down 25,000, we'll still be under budget. And you can see in the chart in the agenda the total amount committed through this project through the third amendment was $206,300. So again, I think it's vital. It's vital time, and to try to change horses in the middle of the stream, I would not recommend that. So I would recommend that the board pass an amendment number 4 in this case to this contract in an amount not to exceed $25,000 for the services to be provided through June 30th.
Okay. Questions, comments? Brian,
I have no questions.
Alina?
No, it makes sense to me to keep her on till the end of the fiscal.
Jeff?
My only comment is that she's actually inexpensive, considering what it would cost us to have a person of her caliber that we went out and hired on the open market. So. Go for it.
Okay. Bob?
No questions, thanks.
Okay. I want to concur with what Jeff said. It is cost beneficial for us. I realize we do have her part-time, but from my perspective, I get the questions answered that I need to on a financial basis. So I'm good with that. Any comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, then I move that the board approves an amendment number 4 to the regional government services contract for an amount of $25,000. I hear crickets.
Okay.
Thank you.
Where are we?
I'm your last resort.
He's got your back. All right, President Smalley,
Yes.
Vice President Lang,
Yes.
Director Hill,
Yes.
Director Foltz,
Yes.
Director Largay.
Yes.
Passes unanimously.
Great. We're on to the consent agenda. Does anybody wish to pull any of the items on the consent agenda? Does anybody on the board want to pull any on the consent agenda?
We're still allowing public members to.
Does anybody on the board want to pull anything from the consent agenda?
I'm asking that question relative to my action of whether or not I pull or not. Are we still allowing public members to pull agenda items?
It's my understanding that looking at the board, well, not revised yet.
Not revised.
Not revised yet. For this meeting, yes.
Okay.
Until we revise it.
Then I don't need to.
Okay. All right. Mr. Hollow.
Thank you. I would like to address the 3-6 minutes.
So you're
Yes,
going to pull
or
just
you're
the three.
pulling that.
Only those. Yes, please.
Okay. Does somebody from the board want to concur with that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't need to, I guess, but I will.
Okay. So what do you want to point out to that, to
Okay.
those minutes?
I was aware that there was the hearing with James Furtado that week.
Mhm.
And also I saw the LAFCO vote is on the agenda, but I didn't go to the meeting, didn't watch the video. But over the weekend, I realized, oh, the packet's probably up. I can look at the draft minutes for the 3-6 meeting and find out what happened on those 2 items in particular that I was interested in. And when I looked at them over the weekend, both of them had this problem that I just described, where it says a motion was made and seconded, the motion passed. And I began thinking about it, and I was thinking, well, they don't even show what happened to James. I mean, to me, the bottom line that needed to be in the minutes is uphold dismissal, those 2 words. But there was just nothing, as is becoming typical, nothing at all about what the result of that item was. And I began, the last words that James said sounded like a threat of litigation to me. I don't know what's going to happen, but he said, you know what's going to happen, something like that. You know what this means. So I was thinking, well, if it got to court, and if these minutes become, something that's in front of a judge, I think a judge would look at those minutes and he'd think, this is really strange. You gave the guy a hearing, but the minutes don't even show what happened. And then also the LAFCO item, I thought the answer there is very simple too. Just 2 words, Anderson Banks. If you get those 2 words in there, then I could see what happened. But because it said a motion was made and seconded, the motion passed, I couldn't tell. You might have even decided you don't want to vote. That might have been the motion. Let's just not vote this time. So I wrote an email Sunday night to the general manager. And I think I pointed out the third item also didn't say what happened, but it was really those two items I was interested in. Well, by Monday morning, I saw that the minutes had been updated. The packet was revised, the minutes were updated, and it did say uphold dismissal for James. So that's good. And then I looked down at the next one, and nothing done about the LAFCO item. So that made me realize this change was not in response to something that I said. It must have been in response to, I'm speculating that the district council was reviewing those minutes over the weekend, just as I was, and came to the same conclusion that we really better say something about what we did in the first case. So I think what's happened here is the district council has made a general rule and instructed the district secretary, don't put the actions in the minutes. And then she decided over the weekend, but let's make an exception to the general rule in the case of the James Furtado. So I still think that the minutes would be better if they said Anderson Banks for the LAFCO item. And for the other item, I think that there should be, just as I said before, the last thing I want to say about the minutes is that they say that Director Largate is absent, but he is shown voting on every item.
Thank you. Okay. I have no further items to discuss.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Since the 3-6 minutes were pulled, it would require board action. So maybe I should have said point of order, not excuse me. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
However,
Thank you for making that clear. Okay.
However, would it make sense to ask that the minutes be updated with the Anderson as primary, Banks as secondary, and an inclusion of some context around the motion for the utility billing policy? I mean, I do think Bruce has a point, and on these kinds of things, Bruce usually is correct. I noticed some of this myself, and then also I can't remember if Director Largate. Brian,
I was not here and did not vote.
Yeah, so that is that's a big.
And then
So let's.
yes.
Yeah, and then the other one is consent, so we handle it as a consent item.
Right. Okay. Then please make a motion on that then, if that's what it.
I don't. Oh.
Amend the meeting minutes.
We don't. I mean, we don't have to do that. We can simply remand them to staff for updates per board direction.
Okay. I'm fine with those words.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you then. So with that, no district reports, written communications, or informational materials. I see no other comments from anybody online. I think we can adjourn. Yes.
For the consent calendar, we only addressed the 3-6 minutes since they were pulled, and so nothing was done with the special board meeting minutes of March 10th.
I take it by the fact that none of the board members wish to pull that they have been approved. But I didn't say that.
Can we get a nod or a consensus?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, CTV. Thank you, everybody.